Support for abortion is increasing among Adventists in North America. Before we look at the bad news, there is a very important point to be made. According to the 2014 Pew Research Religious Landscape Study data provided here, 58% of Adventists say that abortion should be illegal in all or most cases. People often complain about and attack the Adventist church because the church officially supports abortion. And according to documented history, it was the North American church leadership who brought abortion into the world church. However, this is the important point. Even after 48 years of lies, euphemisms, and disinformation from church leadership, and even after 60 years of being bombarded with toxic propaganda from the sexual revolution, even after decades and decades of relentless ideological pollution, 58% of Adventists in North America still oppose abortion. The majority of the world church outside North America certainly opposes it, and even the majority of Adventists inside North America oppose it. This is precisely why leadership in North America have made every attempt to avoid this issue from being brought before the world church, because they know full well that if given the opportunity to vote, the world church is going to vote no. Leaders know that, and so they have made every effort to ignore, downplay, cover up, and sideline this issue. This has not been without effect. The bad news is that 39% of Adventists say that abortion should be legal in all or most cases. That means that for every 100 Adventists, almost 40 of them believe that it's okay to violently dismember and kill an innocent child in all or most cases. Now, you may find that number to be very disturbing, but it gets worse, because Pew Research performed the same study in 2007, and you can see here that the number was 35%. In a 7-year period, the support for abortion among Adventists actually increased by 4 percentage points. People complain to me all the time, "Andrew, why are you making videos asking Doug Batchelor and David Ashrick to talk about abortion? Andrew, why are you asking Steve Wohlberg and Stephen Bohr to talk about the Sixth Commandment? Sean Boonstra, Mark Finley, and others. Andrew, why do you keep asking them to say something?" And this right here is exactly why. This is objective data from outside independent research showing that a whopping 40% of Seventh-day Adventists show support for the breaking of the Sixth Commandment and murdering children. And the number one reason why is because people who could say something, the very people who should say something, say nothing. People are looking to leaders to say something, and because they say nothing, the default pro-murder, pro-death, pro-violence rhetoric and propaganda in culture is the only voice that Adventists hear on abortion, and that voice is completely unopposed. And worse, not only is it unopposed, but the official position of the church supports this. The church officially supports abortion on demand and uses the exact same health clause used in Roe versus Wade and Doe versus Bolton to justify murdering children. This is completely wrong and is completely evil. The entire history of abortion documented here is one of lies and deception and fraud. Everything that the Adventist church says about abortion is based on a complete fraud. And because nobody says anything, because nobody tells the truth, because no leaders in our church or independent ministries will say anything, this insidious evil is growing and increasing among the church body like a malignant cancer. They will preach against the sins of Rome and the evils of tobacco and coffee. They will publicly condemn other denominations for their official statements on the Fourth Commandment, but they completely ignore our own denomination's official position supporting the breaking of the Sixth Commandment. They will loudly and publicly speak against women's ordination, evolution, spiritual formation. They will loudly and publicly denounce all these other evils in our church, but nobody will say one word against our very own church's support for the violent torture and premeditated murder of little children. For example, if Doug Batchelor showed just 1/10 the zeal for child murder that he has shown for women's ordination, this issue would be addressed immediately. If David Ashrick, Steve Wohlberg gave just one sermon dedicated to condemn this horrible nightmare and urged faithful Adventists to demand change, you would see this issue addressed immediately. No murderer has eternal life. This is a very serious salvational sin that is leading people straight to hell and eternal death. and we have objective evidence that support for this sin is increasing, and unfaithful shepherds know that this is happening. They see that the church is being destroyed, and they say nothing. All you have to do is substitute the word child rape for abortion, and the hypocrisy is on full display. Our church teaches that child rape must be ended now, but child murder, and nobody says a word. If an Adventist institution openly honored someone who raped hundreds of children, these men would be completely outraged because it's politically popular to be outraged about child rape. But when our institutions openly honor a man who violently murdered thousands of children, they say nothing. If some perverted, insane theologians in our church wrote a paper and published guidelines to rape children, if they said that decisions about raping children must be made in the context of a fallen world, thus little boys and girls must not be thoughtlessly raped and should only be raped in exceptional circumstances. If some sick perverts in our church said such a thing, you would see cataclysmic volcanic eruptions from church leaders because it's politically popular to do so. But when our church says it's okay to brutally murder a child, that decisions about torture and murder must be made in the context of a fallen world, you hear and see absolutely nothing. It is extremely unkind. It is heartless, mean, and cruel to see this happening and to remain quiet. It demonstrates just how much we hate Jesus, that this is happening to his church, this is happening to his bride, to the apple of his eye, and nobody says one word. Do you see these men right here? One of these men contacted me. I spoke to one of these men and he told me, Andrew, I'm not going to say anything because you said something and nothing changed. You made all those videos and wrote all of those letters, and the leaders in the church did not respond, so I'm not going to speak against it either. Someone that you see right here will not speak against our church's support for murder because my YouTube videos are not bringing any change. Go ahead and see if you can wrap your head around that one. Hello, this is the fire department. Yes, I'm a firefighter. Yes, I get paid to respond and put out fires. Uh-huh. Yes, I am professionally trained. Oh, what's that? Oh, your house is on fire. It's burning up everything and destroying people. Oh, that's terrible. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Wow, you can see the fire spreading in your neighborhood and it's doing great damage. Oh, that's awful. Uh-huh. Well, I just checked right now and I don't really feel a burden or calling to respond to this particular fire right now. So why don't you try using your garden hose or scooping water out of your toilet? Oh, I see. You already tried that and it didn't work. Well, I'm really sorry. If the efforts of some unprofessional, unknown, high school dropout, drug addict, loser, lay member like yourself did nothing, then my efforts probably won't do anything either. Thank you for calling. Goodbye.